Hello, everyone. It's William, finally here at Allegory Gallery. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I did bring my juice. Good. How are y'all doing? I've had a very exciting last few moments. So I'm running a little bit late today because I had to run home in between. I was doing packing and shipping earlier, and I was going to try to run home and finish the project, the necklace that I started for the live, but Andrew had a meeting. So I grabbed my computer bag because I left my laptop here I've had it here at the cottage for a while because Andrew used it here one day and we just never took it home. So I grabbed it, threw the computer in the bag, packed up the car, got ready to jump in the car, and on my bag in the van was a wolf spider, literally at least the size of my palm. So it was already in the van, and not like just on the seat, like in the middle, like between the two seats. My bag had fallen down a little bit in the middle of the van. And the van, by the way, is full of stuff. Like, we have been rearranging our garage, and we have a bunch of stuff in the van that we've never gotten out yet because we've also been rearranging the cottage. So it's kind of riding around with us. And I am not necessarily afraid of spiders. I am afraid of anything that can creep up on you. Not afraid of it, but like, that's not my preferred thing. Things that can creep up on you that are like literally this big, not my preferred thing. So I could see the spider, but it was now in the middle between the two seats. And I know they jump. So I'm like, and I'm not somebody who kills things, right? So I'm like, how in the world am I going to get this spider out and not have it jump into the back of the van, jump into the console between the seats? Because we have a cup container console, and it has stuff in it, but I just imagine the spider like crawling down in the console. And then I'm like, and then how am I going to get it not to go under the seat? Like, there are all these places that this spider could possibly go to hide. And it was not a thrilling thought. So at first I had a large envelope, like a mailer envelope, one of those, they have like plastic in them or something, but they're paper. And I kind of tried to lift it up and get onto the envelope, and it started kind of trying to run away. So I immediately stopped because I was like, you can't go anywhere. You're not allowed to go anywhere. And so then I wasn't going to like reach for my bag in front of the spider. So I tried with all the stuff in the back of the van. I went in the side door of the van. It's a minivan. And I reached for my bag, and I tried to pick up my bag and gently move it to my front driver's seat. Unfortunately, my bag, when I threw it in there, and this is the scary thing. So this spider, the scariest part of all for me, because I did get it out, spoilers, but I would have had to carry that spider with me from inside the studio all the way out to the van because it was on my bag. It wasn't in the van. I know that. It was on my bag. So I took my bag, threw my laptop in it, threw it on my shoulder, and walked out of the studio, out of the door, took it off my shoulder, threw it in the van, turned around to take something else and put it in the van, turned around back, and I jumped and shouted. I don't normally like spook easily, but it was this big, y'all. It was this big, and it had legs and hair. So when I went to move my bag onto the front driver's seat, it was caught on the armrest of the front driver's seat. The loop was caught on there, and I couldn't move my bag. So I had to like hold the bag with one like this, because I didn't want it to go over here where the spider was. So I picked it up and I slid the shoulder strap off of the armrest, got the bag onto my seat, and I'm like, okay, we are almost at the door. And so I kind of took it, and the spider started jumping. And I'm a little bit freaking out because I know they generally can bite and it can leave a mark and sore, but they're not like venomous, super venomous to people. But I still don't want this spider jumping on me, because if it jumps on me, I'm probably going to, out of a reaction, like do that. And I don't like to kill things, but if something lands on me, that instinctual reaction is to go like that. And I would have probably hurt it. So Michelle says that bag would have been thrown out the door. I couldn't throw it out the door because I was lifting the bag, literally going in through the back door of the car, around the front seat, lifting it up, and just like I had no movement in my arm to look, because my arm was wrapped around the seat, because I didn't want to go on the front of the seat because the spider would have like saw my movements. So it did jump down, and it was starting to go under the seat, and I took that envelope that I had earlier and I kind of pushed it out, and it just sat in the gravel. And I have a picture, but I'm not going to show everyone because I know some people are totally arachnophobic, and I'm not going to do that to you. The story is enough. But the spider just sat in the gravel of the driveway, in the grass and the gravel, for a while. And then I had to I didn't want to get out of the car because it was sitting right, like you open the door and it's right there. So I kind of jumped up into the seat, hoping it wouldn't jump on me. And I forgot to close the back door. So I'm like reaching back as far as I can, reclining the seat as far as I can to try and grab the door to close it from the inside. I finally get it. And then I leave the door open and back up, so I know I'm not, so I know that I'm not going to crush the spider because it didn't want to move. It was probably scared as can be, and from me chasing it around, and it got moved out of its home, which apparently the cottage was its home. I'm glad it's not its home anymore, but yeah, so I backed out. So that all took quite a while, because through the whole process, I'm like, if this spider goes in the back of this van or anywhere in this van where I can't see it, this is going to be like an all-night thing. Like, there's no way I'm getting in this van to drive home, because it's like a 10-15 minute drive. There is no way I was going to drive 10 or 15 minutes without knowing where the spider was. So I did get it out, but it took me a while. And that way I ended up getting home too late to give Andrew the computer, which was the whole point of this, was to give Andrew the computer so he could do his meeting down in the dining room, so that I could go up and finish my necklace project that we started on Friday. That was the plan for today. When all this happened, Andrew had already started his meeting, and I didn't want to interrupt the meeting, and there's no real other place for me to do my necklace, and it's like not finished yet. So I figured I'd come up to the cottage and do something else. So we're going to do some dye sublimation today. I am working on, as many of you know, let me just read the comment. Let me say hi. after my harrowing story here. Hello, Brooke. Thank you for joining us. Anne is here. Anne says, nope, 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 nope. Anne says, the worst part is it getting lost in the van and you don't know where it is. I know. That would have been terrible. Like I said, I'm not afraid necessarily. Like I don't want them crawling on me necessarily, but I don't have, like, I know that they're not that venomous. I know that they can bite and leave a mark, but they're generally not bad. And I still don't want to kill. I'm not going to, like, burn the house down, fire kill them. I will try and escort them out. I have never seen a wolf spider. Actually, once. We did see one once when we first moved into the cottage. We opened the door to go outside, and on the screen was this giant wolf spider, but it stayed on the screen and it was okay. But I've never seen one that close and personal before like that. So it kind of freaked me out a little bit, just like it made me jump. I had that, ooh, that I made the wildest sound, right? That sound you make that's like you did just came out of you. But I wanted to, like, I didn't want to hurt it. I could have just smashed it, like that would have been the easy thing because it was able to be, like, it was right out and I could have done it, but I didn't want to do that. Brooke says, I'm a bit arachnophobic. I'd have just leave it and walk the spiders. It's the spiders, Vanna. I know, right? I was like, I can't really call Andrew to come get me if this thing goes inside. And if it does go inside, like, I would have had to take everything out of the van. And it's kind of drizzling here a little bit. I'm like, I would have to take everything out of the van like this and inspect it. And hope that at some point I found the spider. But I would have been hours. It would have been hours to do all that. Michelle is here. Hello, Michelle. And says, Brooke, I could see that, right? Spiders scare the hell out of me, says Michelle. Kimberly says, came in to talk about spiders. Heck no. Right. Hello, Norma. At least you didn't find it on yourself or feel something on your neck. I know. That was like the whole time I was dealing with it, the thought of what could be was worse than the actual thing, right? And I think that's, that's what a phobia is, right? The spider itself was not bad. It barely jumped. Like it kind of ran around a little bit, but it didn't like do those big jumps that I know that supposedly they can do. Thank goodness. But when I hit it with the envelope to try and like get it to walk onto the envelope, it was walking around, and then it took a little jump, and that was when I stopped because I was like, But the thought that I carried my bag all the way across the room and outside to the car, I had put the bag on my shoulder, I had taken the bag off of my shoulder, the thought that it was there and could have at any point found its way to me and been like, oh, that freaked me out. Almost more than anything. The thought of it getting lost in the car freaked me out a lot. Nancy says, was it hairy? Yes. Yes, it was. At least I think it was hairy. It had a beautiful pattern. It was a beautiful spider. And it looked hairy. I'm assuming it's hair. I don't know, but it was beautifully patterned. It wasn't super thick. It was a wolf spider, right? So it was kind of skinny-ish, but yeah. Let's see here. My skin is crawling now. That bag would have been thrown out the door. Yeah. No pic, says Michelle. I know, right? Kimberly says, for me, pictures are fine, but live and in person, no, thank you. Admittedly, not a great day for the spider either. I know. That's why I didn't want to make its day worse. Like, I was trying really hard not to hurt it. At one point when it kind of jumped away from the bag, I think it was a silk thread that it was jumping with. Because it looked, I was like, it shimmered in the light, and I was like, I hope that's not like a leg or like fluids, but I think it was a silk thread because it had all of its legs. They looked fine. It was jumping around. It didn't look like I hurt it in any way, or it got hurt on the way, because I don't know where it was riding on the bag when I was carrying it. I'm like, I don't know if I smashed it. I hope not. But it seemed like it was okay. And then I went home, and when I came back, it's not in the driveway anymore. So it went somewhere, which I'm fine with that. I would never get in that van, says Michelle. Nightmares tonight. Don't have any nightmares. Hey, Susie. Wolf spiders are so close to the size of a tarantula. They are freaky. Nope, not happening. OMG, I rather hear about food that I can't eat than spiders. Yeah, so that is the reason I was going to finish the necklace today with y'all, but I was like, well, didn't get home in time to give Andrew that. Can't get my stuff. Don't want to interrupt his meeting. So I figured we'd do some dye sublimation together. I did a lot of packing and shipping today. So here's the thing. We didn't start selling yet today. We really should. It's getting dicey. We're probably going to start a selling show tomorrow. I think it's going to be necessary by that point. We're kind of living on the edge right now. We're living on pasta sauce and noodles, which are inexpensive. But I wanted to get some more shipping done today. I wanted to not add to what we've got. I have shipped a number of things. Some of you may have seen some packages being shipped out here last week and this week. I still have a bunch to go, but I have everything mostly sorted and everything mostly packed in tissue paper. I just have a few things, a few lots that didn't get packed in tissue paper yet. I actually had a bag that I didn't take to the store this weekend because I finished everything I thought at the store this weekend. And then I came back and found a bag of stuff that was not packed or was not taken to the store to be packed in tissue paper. So I have that. A lot of you are going to see shipping notifications starting to really come out if you haven't yet. Most things, I think the online store stuff, I think the way it has to be, I'm trying to combine as I go, but it's slowing me down. So online store orders may come out at different times than your invoiced orders if you have both. I'm still trying to work with both, but for some people, depending on what needs to be done or made or all of that, the online store orders may, those may just come out separately, unless you've specifically asked to have things combined. But I'm working hard on everything. I actually called in, I had some help up at the store this weekend to help sort and do some things. So we're trying really hard, y'all. I feel bad because everything isn't to the point where we wanted it to be by the end of the reset. And I feel like I'm letting people down, even though we kind of came up with this plan and it was our idea. But we are trying hard to get everything out to y'all. So I have a table full of stuff, boxes that are pretty much packed, almost ready to go. I just have to wrap a few more things for a few people and do my final checks to make sure that I have everything. But a lot of you will see your packages being shipped, if you haven't already, this week. So, but we do have to start selling again because we are running low. Yeah, but we're not going to do it today. We're going to look at some dye sublimation today. Karen says, speaking of food, I made enchiladas for my hubby's Father's Day dinner per his request. And he was the only one home to eat it. Yes, concession last night, so leftovers for dinner tonight. Nice. That's awesome. Hubby wanted Tommy's last night. It was pretty good. I don't know what Tommy's is. Kimberly asked too, what is Tommy's? They have chili cheese dog, burgers, stuff like that. I had chili cheese fries. Ooh, chili cheese fries sounds good. Dale says, hi, everyone. Hi, William. Excited about shipping. Yes, Dale, yours was touched today. I didn't quite get to packing the whole box, but your box is, you're in that, most of y'all are in that mostly packed phase. So things are, I'm excited about it. I feel bad because I feel like I let people down by not getting to it all by now, but I'm actually, there's that part of it that my anxiety is there and letting people down. But for the whole grand scheme of things, I'm actually pretty happy where things stand. Hello, Susan. Thank you for joining us. I'm pretty happy that I've gotten as far as I've gotten, because I've gotten a lot done and instituted some things, made some things happen that are going to make things easier as time goes on. So I'm excited about that, and I think it's going to be really good as time goes on. Kimberly says, "Oh, I have so many chili cheese dogs and nachos over the last few weeks. I don't know what I could have done for outside of concessions." I love that stuff. I should have stopped, because we've been eating pasta a lot because it's inexpensive. And with our no sales week, it was, we were trying not to spend too much money. And so we've been eating pasta quite a bit. And, but this chili cheese dog, I wonder if I could make something like that. And says, "Yay for everything you got done." I think I am happy about it. I am happy about it. Some of you are going to get some pretty big packages coming out. We appreciate all of the support. And like I said, the online store orders and some of that stuff, because some of the online store stuff is actually up at the physical store. So depending on what you get, and some of it is this stuff that is sublimated, and I'm doing some of that, but I'm trying mostly to get the other stuff done, and then I will get to those particular things. So most of you are going to get most or all of what you have with us, but there may be a few outliers, but it's a big improvement. So it says, "I know you're struggling by not selling, but it is benefiting me." Well, that's good. I am, we are struggling. And I did not get as much in the online store done. I didn't get much progress made on that because I've been doing so much wrapping and packing and sorting. So I think the online store, when it comes back up, it is going to come back up kind of as it was. And then slowly over time, it's going to morph into, as I have more time to work on it, it's going to morph into what I want it to be. But at least I've got some progress made on that. And I think I got things kind of nailed down to make the progress easier as time goes on. Brooks says, "I ate a lot of variations of beans and rice back in college." Yeah, I feel like we're in college time right now. It's like pasta, and what did we have the other night? We had pasta the one night, and then, Andrew baked bread, so he made his own bread. And then we had some cheese left over from, we had like burgers the one night. And so, because the burgers were on sale at the grocery store, the veggie burgers. So we got those, and we had some burgers left over, or we had some cheese left over from the burgers we made. And so we picked up some fake chicken strips, and we made sandwiches out of his homemade bread, the cheese and the chicken strips. So that was pretty good. We're trying to eat not too badly, but we're doing things like making our own bread and buying things, reusing things as much as we can, which we always do. Andrew's really good at reusing leftovers and repurposing them, thank goodness. So today I got a can of beans. I got some frozen veggies cheap at Dollar General, which is strange that they sell them there, but they do. And some pasta, and we already had some pasta sauce because it was on sale, so I got more than one the other night. And we might have pasta again. Andrew might be getting tired of pasta though, so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. So today, the other day, which by the other day I mean quite a while ago, we showed these, and I just blanked on the name. Everlast. Anyway, it's this series of artwork that we turned into pins, And one of my last things that I'm trying to do is to get, some people ordered multiples, or multiple people ordered the same pin, and I am trying to get those all done. So I have a list here of all the pins that have sold and the ones that I need to make specifically for orders, because this is one of the last things that I have that I'm packing that I don't have everything for, because it's dye sublimation, and that you will see this process does not take long, but it's kind of one of those things that, like, this has to heat up, which I started this before we got started, which I'm pointing at my heat press. That has to heat up. Everything needs to be printed and edited. Luckily, I have that pretty well set up. But yeah, it's and I just realized I didn't print 2 of this one, so I'm gonna have to print another one of that one. But it's not, the process itself doesn't take long. It's the getting into the process. You know, when you have to switch gears, when I'm packing and shipping and doing things, and then if I have to switch gears to go make something, it's a totally different process, and it takes time to get things sorted and get things started up. And then I feel like turning this on for like making 1 or 2 things really throws a wrench. So I wait till I have a little bit more, if I get a few more pieces. So you will see the entire process, if you've never watched this with me, does not take that long. And so I can see what people were like, so why do the pins take a while? Well, it's because it is a process and I try not to waste materials. So like I try to wait until I have a sheet full, so I'm not wasting paper, because the paper, the ink, and all that, it's not, it's not free. So we don't make a ton of money on all of these. So that's why. But you will see, it's a fun process, I think. Like, I do enjoy doing it. I don't enjoy this part, the cleanup. So this is, and I'll flip the camera around here soon. We cut these, this wood that is treated. We have this treated to be able to sublimate on. And then the wood is cut, but look how the pins look. And they all come out like that from the laser burning the wood. So that has to be cleaned off. And I do have a solution that I use, and through trial and error, found one that works. I am hoping that I can get more of it when it runs out, because I am running really low. And I have tried other brands of this stuff that I use, and they do not work. So it's only one specific brand of this cleaner that I use, and I'm hoping that when I have to rebuy it, it hasn't been reformulated, because we've had this sitting around for quite a while. It says 2017 was when it was manufactured. So I'm hoping they haven't reformulated, but we'll see, because that would make things a lot harder for me, because I've tried all different solvents and cleaners, and one works well enough that it works really fast. And I'll show you, I mean, really fast. It's a dirty process, but I'll show you. Kimberly says, I hear some ingredients for an awesome broccoli Alfredo. Maybe we could do an Alfredo. Andrew, generally, when I ask him if he wants like a cheese sauce on his pasta or that, he doesn't really go for it. And that's probably generally because he likes to make his own. And I do make it, like I make a Alfredo sauce, or an Alfredo sauce. But it takes a while, and it takes a lot more than buying a jar of spaghetti sauce, cost-wise. So we'll see. Hello, Suzanne. Thanks for joining us today. You missed the spider story, Suzanne. Anybody just tuning in missed the spider story today that I had to go through. It was not fun, but it's funny now. But it was not fun. Anyway, we're not going to spend too much time here today because I've got a lot of stuff to do, and my project making that necklace took like 2.5 hours with y'all, and I didn't even finish it. So I don't want to take that much time because I just want to show you kind of a quick demo of how this works, and we're going to work through it a little bit, and that's going to be it. So let me flip the camera around. Hello, Susie. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to flip this camera around and kind of show you what I do to make these pins. These are our wooden pins, these art pins that we make. Whoops. I always forget to flip the camera. There we go. There we are. So I have these pre-cut, and these are the adhesive pins we use. I have these, and I have some over here that we use too. And I have my list of things. So first things first, let me get this cable out of the way. First things first, I have to clean these for them to actually work. So I use a paper towel, and I use this solvent that we have. One particular brand that works. And so you'll see, look how quickly that takes it off. This is the only one. So what it is it's a nail polish remover, but it's a non-acetone. And I have tried so many different brands because this was running low. Actually, I lost track of this bottle at one point. I think we took it to the house, and I didn't have it here. So Dollar General was closer than a house. And I'm like, well, nail polish remover is not too expensive. So, and it's not going to hurt to have more around since we do a lot of this. But then I bought 2 different kinds, and neither one of them actually does anything. So whatever is in this one brand that we've got, Brooke says, I didn't know they made non-acetone nail polish remover. Yes, it's non-acetone. I have tried nail polish remover with acetone and another brand without, and it does not work. This is the only one that has actually worked. Like, the other ones kind of work if you sit there and wait and like scrub and scrub and scrub, but this is like a miracle compared to those other ones. It takes this right off. And like I said, I hope they didn't reformulate it since 2017 when we apparently bought this bottle. I don't know what we bought it for. But see the difference like that? Takes it right off. And you got to do both sides. And sometimes the white portion of this is chipped because the laser, when it cuts it, blows off some of this coating that we have on here. And if that happens, then that's no good. Anna says, hello, AG fan. You have to use acetone to cut through. This is a non-acetone, and the one with acetone actually didn't work for me at all. Not at all. Hardly at all. So it's this one specific brand that's non-acetone, and it cuts right through, wipes it right off. I don't know if I still have the other one here. I would show you. Oh, I do. I think it's on my desk. But you'll see how this works, and then I'll show you the other one. And then I try to do this like with one side of the cloth and then with the other, so it doesn't leave residue, because see how dirty it is? And then that gets on the white part. This is the part I hate the most about doing this. And it says non-acetone is better for your nails, but actually does not pull nail polish as easily. Yeah, it is much easier on your hands, which is why I try to do it. I should be wearing gloves, you know. just because this is not easy on your hands. But now let me go get my other one. I don't know if the other one I left here is acetone or non-acetone. Okay, now this one is 100% acetone. Now, watch it work. It didn't work for me before, but it also does matter how long these have been sitting like this. When I freshly get them out of the laser, they're a lot easier to clean, but I generally don't clean them all right away because I cut a bunch of them at once. So let's see if this is going to work today or not. This is 100% acetone. And you'll see. You see how much it takes? Like, it's barely taking it off. And it's 100% acetone. So that doesn't work. Not gonna do it. So I use the non-acetone, and it comes right off. Barely have to push. Anna, this is the burn marks that the laser leaves on the wood, the dye sublimated coating on the wood. That's what I'm removing. And this is, I missed what you're removing. So the non-acetone remover actually works better, but not the other brand. So this wood got, you can see how there's a chip in this wood right there. It chipped because the laser, when it cut it, sometimes it chips that coating off. So that one is, I don't use those. I don't use those for your products. So that goes in the trash. Now, if I did dye sublimate those, and you probably would never notice when you get them because the graphics on them would cover up most of that. But I still don't like to have the thought that I sent out anything that has that kind of defect in it. So we don't use those for your stuff when we make them. So how are y'all doing? Anna says, yes, that makes sense. I think the non-acetone is like Goo Gone chemical. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. But all I know is that this brand, this one brand, I've tried another brand of non-acetone and it did not work. I have to see if and I don't know where that went, but I did have it here at one point. But yeah, this is the only brand that I've found that works. And it was one of the very first things I tried. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy. Anything pretty much is gonna work to take this off. And then we've had that at home at sometimes, and I didn't have it here. I've tried other things, but it is not it is not easy to find something that works. Kimberly says, I wouldn't mind a chip that works with the design, give it an antique or rustic vibe. Yeah, but this is Andrew's artwork. They're not really antique rustic like that. So yeah, I don't want to do that. Let's see here. Brooke says tired, but otherwise fine. Kathy is here. Hello, Kathy. Suzanne says, I had a very busy day, but did not get caught in any storms. That's good. Is it storming around there? We've had, it's been drizzling here, but that's about it, I think, most of today. Of course, I've been, see, I can see that that one is, let me make sure that's not, sometimes it fools me, and it's really just the markings of the laser cut, not actually blown away. Let's see here. Yeah, so sorry, we're just, we're going to get into the sublimating here, but before we do, I want to get these all cleaned up. But I wanted to show you this process because the whole process is what we, you know, this is what I do. And if I had them all prepared, then you wouldn't see the process, right? Maybe I should have prepared some, but the whole spider issue kind of held me back. Yeah, that one we're gonna toss that one aside too. I would have been more prepared. We would have actually been doing something totally different had the spider thing not happened today. So, but yeah, otherwise today was, I made some phone calls today. I had to do some work stuff as far as calling people, and Andrew, I don't know if we're both going tomorrow. We'll see. Andrew's going up to Contemporary Craft tomorrow. I might go with him. You know, I always feel guilty not staying and working, but I've been doing a lot, and I'm catching up quite a bit. But I think we're going to Contemporary Craft. I think he's going to write a piece, about a piece in their collection. They've asked him to do some writing. Suzanne says Tallulah goes to the doctor. She goes on Thursday, but I have to call them because I think she's going into heat. So I have to ask them if it's okay, because I've heard that sometimes the process is much harder if they're in heat. And I got to actually make sure she is. I mean, you can't really make sure, but we got to keep an eye on her and see if she's doing the things she normally does when she goes into heat. She usually gets it pretty bad. She like writhes around on the floor. And she started doing a little bit of that last night, but sometimes she also just rolls around like that for attention. So, but they say that because it puts more blood flow, that it can be harder on a surgery and more dangerous to do. So between now and then, we're going to see what happens. If it seems like she's going into heat, then we may have to postpone that depending on what they say. So yeah, because we don't want to risk it being more dangerous for her. But yeah, the vet isn't in that does the surgeries this Wednesday, so it's going to be, she'll be Thursday if she does go in. And then she will be the last girl, and we won't have to, everybody will be healed up. Ida Bell's doing well. She's, I think she wants her cone off bad. She hates that, but she's been resting a lot. Gertie was more, Ida Bell was much more rambunctious in the beginning. Ida Bell just wanted to go, go, go. And now in recovery, Ida Bell is much more relaxed, and she's just mainly been kind of resting a lot. She still wants us to play with her, but of course we can't. Like, we have a laser pointer that she loves, and she keeps kind of going to the drawer where we keep it in and talking to us about it. And Gertie found a string the other day and started pulling it across the floor, and Ida Bell wanted to try to play with it. But for the most part, thankfully, she's been resting. almost to the point where we were concerned that she's resting too much, you know, but she seems to be okay. She's eating and drinking and wanting to play and purring like crazy. I think she really just hates the cone on her head, because it makes her kind of have to walk funny, and she can't really look around as easy. So I think more than anything, she's resting till she gets that off. But she's healing well. Gertie is, I think, completely healed. She's been running around like a little crazy thing, jumping around and, you know, doing that wild cat dash that cats do sometimes. All right, that's enough for now. I'm not going to make y'all sit through all of these. Be honest, would you hate a cone on your head too? Yes, I certainly would. I certainly would. Not being able to bend at your neck, like they can't really bend at their neck. So they keep having, she like swings her head around to look at stuff. It would be terrible. Norma says, it's good to see the whole process. We can appreciate it more. Yeah, I think so. I hope so. So these are the ones that I know I need to make for orders. And I need to find them on my sheets here. So first off is going to be this young man right here. I printed out all of them again because when I do get a chance, I'm going to be making enough for one of each on the website. So that's that one. We're going to make that one today. And we have to make the rabbit girl. Oh, I'm going to make this one. So these are all this artwork is printed with special dye sublimation ink with a printer that we have converted to be a dye sublimation printer. Once you make a printer a dye sublimation printer, like we bought a regular printer to make it a dye sublimation printer. There's specific ones that you can do that with. And once you do that, you cannot go back to regular ink. That's all that printer can be used for. So we did that, and I've printed these out. Everything has to be printed out backwards, so flipped horizontally when you print it. This is the other one that I need. And so Brooke asked, how do you convert it? So you buy one of those specific ones work. You buy those like big tank printers, the ones that you fill with, you don't use cartridges in, they have tanks that you fill with large bottles of ink. So you buy one of those, and there are different brands that use those. We use an Epson one, and I researched to try to figure out which one gave good enough quality for what we were doing. And so it's an Epson Eco Tank is what Epson calls theirs. It's an Eco Tank. I think HP has one of them. I forget what HP calls theirs. But it's an Epson Eco Tank. And so those are the ones that that you can use. And instead of using the ink that comes with them, you buy bottles of ink, and there are certain brands that use bottles that easily fill these printers. They have special nozzles made to fit in where the bottle connects, and you can fill them, and you buy the sublimation ink. But once you run sublimation ink through the printer, you can no longer switch. You can't switch back. You have to just use it for dye sublimation. Now, I guess some people have like tried to really like put, I guess they have a flushing fluid that you can use through the printer and that, but what I've read is a lot of times that's just a lot more hassle and it doesn't always work. So once you buy a printer for this, you are buying the printer for that. That's pretty much the way it goes. So I've cut out these three. And I'm going to show you, this is the easy part, kind of. So I have this set up, set to the temperature, which is for us and the specific wood that we use and the pieces that we use. I have found that 325 degrees works the best. So let me see how I can do this. I think I have to unplug this. And what we'll do is I'm going to move this over here so that y'all can see what's going on a little bit. All right, so this is the heat press, and I have some papers here, and we use these because the dye from the dye sublimation can bleed a little bit. So you want to have paper so that it doesn't bleed onto this, which would then bleed onto anything else you further can kind of make. It kind of soaks into the paper though, and I don't have to switch out this paper too often, which is nice. So we have this, and what I'm going to do is I take these and I line them up on here like that. All right, and then they get placed on here with the paper side up. And like I said, the process is quick once you have everything kind of sorted like we already do. We have the art digitized and color corrected. We've worked on making sure that it comes out kind of the color we want it. We have the special wood that we use ready to go. I just have to clean it after it's laser cut. And let me see how this one goes. Yes, it does get very close to that edge. And because what it is these only, it's on there. This is starting to bend up. I need to make sure I have that on there right. It goes in at 325, pressed for 1 minute, and then I turn them and press it for another minute. So those are the 3 that I have to do for orders. I actually, no, wait. What am I missing? I'm missing another one. I have to do 10. Number 10, which is Cornelius Pepper Potts. Likeness. And I actually have to make another one of these because I forgot that I have more than one order for those. And so this one, this is this one. This one goes on here. And you kind of see like that. All right, so those go on there. And then this is the part that can be really annoying because I have to set this other piece of paper on here without moving those. Because if they move slightly, I'm going to get an off print. And we're going to see, hopefully I didn't move them when I did that, because sometimes just the wind of putting that on there can do that. So I slide that in and I push this down and I hit start. And it counts down for me. It has a beeper that tells me when things are done, but sometimes this beeper doesn't work. So I just got to kind of hang around and wait for it to be done because it's only a minute. So how's everyone else doing? What'd y'all have for dinner tonight? I know some of you were talking about what you were eating. I feel like now everyone's talking about these chili dogs and stuff and enchiladas. Maybe I should get some fake meat and make some chili stuff and get some fake hot dogs. That would be good. I don't know if Andrew would like that or not tonight, but I think it sounds really good and probably not too expensive. So this is kind of the slightly boring part, but it's already done. So we lift this up, and I have to lift this up gently so that I don't, and I pull this out, and we lift this off. And because these have been pressed, they do hold down a little bit better. But now I take them and I twist them, and hopefully they're super hot, by the way. And hopefully when I twist them, I don't get them off, because this is a second pressing, and it can leave a ghost image if I accidentally move them. This is why sometimes it takes me a while to get these done, because sometimes I end up with lots of ghost images, or they move. Like you can see this one that I did at one point, see how it moved? It was slightly off and got blown off, so that one's no good. This one I didn't press enough, so it's lighter than it should be. I have a few. This one was off center, it got moved off center, so that one was no good. This one too got moved off center, so that was no good. So there's sometimes, you know, it takes you don't even realize that you moved it when you put it in there. Sometimes it moves. And then this one, this was before when I was trying to take a lot of, I was trying to test to see what the best way to do this was. Because you can see this image is lighter. I finally figured out that if I run them through twice by turning them, I used to have a very complicated setup for this that I had ceramic tiles placed on here. I had various levels of cardboard placed in here just to try to get the best transfer I could. And it started not working really well. And what I realized is if I take all of that away and put them on here by themselves and do them for a minute and then turn them and do them for another minute, it works out much better and with less hassle. So that's what I do now. So let me move this back over here. And let's see, Susie had leftover beef roast with brown rice and roasted tomatoes. That sounds great. Susan says, I made some beet hummus today. Been snacking on that, so likely won't have anything else for dinner. And had a twice baked potato. It was good. Ooh, baked potato sounds good too. So these then are very, very, very hot. Whoops, that one just fell. Very hot, very, ow, 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 very hot. Whew. Okay. Red beans and rice, says Suzanne. That's kind of like our meals lately. I get it. Norma had a loaded baked potato. Ooh. I almost bought tater tots. I was hungry for tater tots. All right. So what we then do is we take these and we peel it off. And we see if we've got a good image. That one looks great. And then this one. Look at that. And then this one. Good. Good, good, good. Just comparing them to the ones I made before. Make sure the colors look good on them. Look good. Pull that one out of the bag. I think it's, yeah, good. Because I don't, sometimes, you know, it's not as dark, or as, it should be lighter or darker. But good. So that, whoop, and then the one that fell is this little friend. This little friend right here. Andrew says, I think those turned out great. Hey, Andrew. Yeah, I think so too. And then what has to happen is And you can see where the image was. You can see how it transfers. It pulls off the paper. By the way, this is a special paper too. This is a special dye sublimation printer or paper. So the dye sublimation ink in the dye sublimation printer gets put onto the special dye sublimation paper that we use. Now, you can technically use regular copy paper or inkjet paper, but the transfer does not go as well. I've tried it because I was trying to save some money on it, and it just does not go as well. So we spend the money on the special paper for the dye sublimation. So then I have to do the other side, right? And I got to put the logo on the pins. So it's the same thing. Cut these out. And these, I just kind of, let me move this back over here so you can see me do it. These ones I kind of just eyeball. Brooke says, do you need to seal the picture with anything? No. From what I've seen and what I've experimented with, we've not had to seal with anything. They seem to be pretty good, even in sunlight, left in sunlight for a while. So I just put that on there, and then those go on there again. And I have to make sure I'm doing it the right side up. And I just kind of eyeball that. You can kind of see through the paper, okay, to kind of figure out where you are. Andrew says, we did tests and it's sturdy. Yeah, so it is very sturdy. We have scratched these. We've used various metal, like Brillo pads and things like that to scratch. And what we use is quite good. As Andrew says, if you gouge it with a knife, it'll get marked up, but it does hold up. Yeah, we've done a lot of testing to make sure that these are good as they are. Whoops, I almost forgot the paper. And this is the other thing, is if I accidentally make a mistake on this, then I gotta start over with the whole pendant. So I try to be careful. We do that side. So what do y'all think of those so far? Like I said, the process seems very quick and easy now that we have everything set up, but figuring it all out. And for each new piece of artwork we do, we have to check what colors we want and how the, like if it's going to be dark enough for the print and what it's going to look like. So for each new piece of art, it takes a little while to figure out. And yeah, Andrew says we did water tests too. Yeah, we left the wood sitting in a bucket of water overnight. And the wood, after 24 hours, the wood did start getting a little bit puffy. You know how, because it's a particle kind of wood. So it'll start to get a little bit bad, but it didn't affect the surface. And there is, like, if you got caught, the main thing we were worried about is people getting caught in the rain, right? And making sure that the wood was going to hold up to things like that. And it very easily does. Very easily does. Andrew missed my spider story at the beginning too, I think. If y'all just came in, I had quite the episode with a wolf spider today. Andrew says, it took a lot of trial and error to get it just right. William did a good job. Thanks. Yeah, I was showing some ones that didn't work out. Like this was some of the trial and error. Like it may look fine to most people, but to me that is just too light. Just trying to figure out what the best way to do these are. And then like this one, I just did this one. But I don't know if you can tell the difference. One is bigger than the other, so I have to resize them so that they fit properly and look right too on the things. So that's trial and error too. Andrew says, "Oh my, I missed the store. We gotta go to the yard." No, but it almost we almost had a wolf spider in the van living there while I walked home. All right, and then these come up. I did those twice, once, and then turn them, and then once again. And then these are, again, hot, 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 hot. And they get moved over here to the table, because if they just sit there, they will not cool very quickly. So they cool faster on the table. All right, so then we'll move back over here, back over to the table. And then this comes off, and you get the Allegory Gallery logo. So we do have wood that's treated on both sides with sublimation kind of substrate that we use. So it's treated on both sides so that we can sublimate on both sides of the wood. And that's what we do that. Susan said, "It's raining so hard I can barely hear you, and then it thundered and I lost power for a minute. Now my internet is spotty, so I think I'll pack it in for the night." Have a good night, Susan. Have a good night. Thank you so much for hanging out with us while you could. Suzanne says, "That's a lot of work." For these, it's a lot of work to get them ready. If I could figure out a way not to have to clean these, it would make my life so much easier. Technically, we can cover them before we cut them with a laser with masking tape, but sometimes the masking tape ends up chipping the corners of this even more when it's cut, and pulling it up. So I've not really done, and it's like that's like an extra step. Like, am I going to clean them, or am I going to sit there and mask the whole thing and then peel it off? But for the most part, once the images are made, it's not too bad. But just to make one pin, you can see how just making one pin at a time can be pretty difficult. Not difficult, just time consuming to get everything up and running, set up the whole setup, and make one pin. So I do try and wait till there are more, but this is why we are moving the website to things that are already made. These are all made to order at the moment, but we're going to be moving the website to only things that are pre-made so that I can pre-make what I want to make and what we want to make, and then they'll be ready to just go out instead of me having to start this up and fire this up for any time somebody places an order. And then we use these and we put these on. So these go on, and I'm going to get up and stand up because I want to be able to see where I'm placing it. And that's how we make our pins. Andrew said, "Yeah, MTOs, made to orders, is harder." It really is, because it takes a long time to get by the time you have to stop packing and shipping, or stop what you're doing, turn on the heat press, wait for it to heat up, and then clean up whatever things you have. Like I said, if it would be a joy if we had somebody who could prep these for me, or if I prep them all at once, but then it's a lot of time. And they would store okay, but generally I do them as I need to make them. And that's, whoa, oops, no, that one's no good now. Let's do that. But yeah, it's just harder to start everything up and do this whole process for one. Like, if I'm making a bunch of something, it actually goes faster, I feel like, than if I'm just making one of something. So when these pins go on, And I just have to print and make one more of that guy. And then all the orders for all of these pins that we've had will be, I think, ready to go. And then I'll be able to, I have a list of ones that I've sold. And I'll go and make this, so I have one of each at least, and then I'll be able to take pictures of them and put them in the online store, and they'll be available and pre-made and ready to go in the online store. So that's that, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Brooke said the colors transferred really well. I think it comes out really, really well. You know, I think it's really nice. It was definitely an investment for the whole system. But I think in the end, you know, it was a lot of research and it was money invested, but I think we can do some pretty cool stuff with this. And with the laser that we have, we can cut these into any shape. So we tend to do them in this shape mostly because that's the shape Andrew mostly paints in. We also have the little square ones that we do, but we can really do anything in any shape, which is super nice. And we've done some things for other people, for logos and businesses and stuff like that. So it's nice to be able to do stuff like that. Move these out of the light so you can actually see. So that's it. Suzanne says, came out nice. Thanks. So that's it, y'all. I'm going to close up shop here. We'll close down the live here and work on a few more of these. And that's going to be good for me. We're gonna make some dinner, and yeah, so thanks for hanging out with me. I feel weird going, it's like an hour and 20 minutes and we're already done, and I started like 10 minutes late, but anyway, that's it. That's nice, right? Have a great evening, everyone, and we'll be back here. Like I said earlier, we're gonna have a selling show tomorrow, I believe. I think we're gonna do a Total Request Live, y'all. Because we are going to need to do it. We've got bills coming up, and 1 week of no selling is scary enough. We can't go into 2 weeks. So we really appreciate all of your support. Like I said, shipping is happening. It's not as quick as I thought, but we are very close to getting most things out the door as far as lives are concerned. And then I'm going to be working hard on catching up in the online store. So we're on a good path. And we thank you all for your support and your patience as we go through this. And yeah, we'll see you back here tomorrow. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Bye, everyone.